You do it, I'll veto it. Ahead of House Republicans likely voting to defund the health care law tomorrow, the president warning it is going nowhere fast with him. And even Karl Rove says it is a no-win for Republicans now. Today, meet the GOPer who I just think might have told Karl Rove and the president to all but go to hell. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto, and here's how strongly Arkansas Republican Congressman Tim Griffin feels about defunding Obamacare. He does not care whose feelings he hurts along the way, even those within his own party. After he heard that Senators Ted Cruz and Mike Lee were all but admitting defeat, the congressman all but tweeted they were quitters. Quoting here, "So far, Senate Republicans are good at getting Facebook likes and town halls, and not much else. Do something." To the point, and now to the congressman. Well, you started something because they're already holding press conferences, dialing back what they said. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I would never tell anybody where they could go. Look, and I read Karl's article. He didn't say the general idea was a bad one. He said a shutdown is a bad idea. Look, I'm not advocating.
No, to be fair, Congressman, what he said is that the idea that you'll make much progress trying to defund this thing is going nowhere fast. It's a very principled argument, but the numbers don't help you in the Senate. And even if you got your way in the Senate, the president would veto it, and you were far, far from a veto-proof majority. What do you think of that?
Well, I will tell you this. If we only passed bills in the House that we knew the president wanted to sign and that the Senate wanted to pass, then we'd be in pretty bad shape. I would point out that we are sending several options over there, and I would point out that the delay of the employer mandate under Obamacare was President Obama's idea. If you would have told us that that was going to happen 2 years ago, we would have said no way. So look, the folks in the Senate that have been talking about defunding and delaying and repealing and all these different options, they've been asking for the ball. Well, we're going to give them the ball, and we're going to be pulling for them. And the thing about the Senate, which is different than the House, is in the House, the majority pretty much controls everything. In the Senate, there are certain procedural ways to give the minority some power, and the minority can make a statement. There's no doubt that it's going to take a massive grassroots effort, and there's no doubt that there's some senators like the Democrat senator from my home state, Mark Pryor, who doesn't want to vote on Obamacare either way, and it's the same with Landrieu from Louisiana and elsewhere.
But Congressman, were you specifically citing Senators Lee and Cruz as those Republicans who talked a good game but didn't really follow through?
What I was doing is challenging the ones that talk a lot over there, and I was referring to the general press release that went out, and I was just making. No, I want
to be specific. You were talking about those two gentlemen.
Yeah. The one.
Okay, I was the reason I mentioned that Senator Cruz responded to that today. This is from Senator Cruz.
I will do everything necessary and anything possible to defund Obamacare.
A filibuster?
Yes, and anything else, any procedural means necessary. Listen, this is the most important fight in the country, and it's easy to focus on the political back and forth.
What did you think of that?
Hey, I'm glad that he has made that abundantly clear. Look, as far as I'm concerned, I've known Ted Cruz since 2000. He was on the Bush campaign when I was working to help get President Bush elected in 2000. I've known him a long time. What that is encouragement from us to say, look, you guys have to do what you've been saying you can do or want to try to do. We've done our part, and we're counting on you.
So real quickly, what did you think of the Democratic leadership having this to say about you? This is from them.
We're not going to blink. You can't be held hostage. You can't have someone put a gun to your head and say, we're going to do horrible, ridiculous things unless you give in to us.
This is playing with fire. Legislative arsonists are at work when they start using the debt limit.
Not a good week, given all that's happened to be saying stuff like that. But what did you make of that?
Look, it sounds like Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi have been playing too many violent video games. They're talking about arson. They're talking about guns to head. I mean, come on. They're the coarsening of the culture in this country. I don't pay much attention to what they say usually because it's usually partisan hyperbole. Here's what I know. No one's calling for a government shutdown. I'm not for a government shutdown. I don't think a government shutdown helps us. What I do know is this. Anytime anyone, whether it's a used car dealer or whether it's the President of the United States, anytime they tell you that they're not going to negotiate at all, that is in fact the beginning of negotiations. I've been in this town long enough to know that there's always a possibility, and we've got it. My obligation to my constituents who sent me here is not to say, well, we lost the presidential election, therefore I'll give up. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to look for every possible angle and represent my constituents.
Did you just compare the president to a used car salesman? Or I'll leave it at that. Congressman, thank you very, very much.